Hey, I'm Jen, and today we're talking about how to use your doubts and fears to move forward. So I'm talking about how to work through doubts and fears, how to use them intentionally to move ourselves forward. Now, naturally, when the brain comes up against something that is risky, maybe it's an animal chasing you, maybe it's something that could be embarrassing. It doesn't much see the difference between an emotional risk and a physical risk. So when the alarm bells go off for a mountain lion chasing you, it's going to feel the same as when you're getting ready to get up on stage and public speak, like speak publicly, right? Because the brain is like, this is risky, this is scary, this could cause me harm, whether it's emotional harm, whether it's physical harm, and it's going to do things that will try to kick you back into safe and familiar territory, which is not go on stage and not go out where there may be mountain lions, right? And that's how we survive through the ages. But if there's something that you really want to do that is going to push you, you need to get used to having doubts and fears and using them to help you move forward. So the way I used this in my life was, I've mentioned before, I really wanted to be able to get up on the mountains. It meant a lot to me. I really wanted to be able to do it. But I was afraid of three things. I was afraid of getting eaten by a mountain lion, because they're up here. I was afraid of freezing to death, and I was afraid of getting lost. And if you've ever driven with me before, you know that is like a real possibility. It could happen. And so my first instinct, well, first I got mad because no one would come up with me. I didn't know anyone who wanted to go up and sleep in the mountains. And so my next thought was to just not do it, to bag it. But it was something I really decided I really wanted to do. And so the next step was to start actually looking at my doubts and fears and evaluate them. So what I did was I said, okay, you know what, are these even valid? Is it true that I could get lost? Is it true that I could come across a mountain lion up here? Is it true that I could freeze to death? And when I sat and thought about it, I thought, yeah, that's totally legit. That could happen. And so I thought, okay, so what can I do to address those fears and doubts? And so I took one fear at a time and figured out what I could do to address it. So my first fear was getting cold. And so what I did was I YouTubed how to start fires up in the snow. And I asked every friend I could think of. I knew of hunters and people who would get up in the mountains. And I thought, well, if they can do it, why can't I do it? They must have figured something out, and I can figure it out too. So I would go talk to them and say, hey, what can I do? How do you keep the fire from melting when it's in the snow? And then I would go up, try out what they said, find another problem. Like maybe I couldn't get my thing to light. And so I would come back and say, hey, how do you get this to light? I had this problem. I would come back and evaluate every time and work on at least one thing for the next time. Okay, so I did that with the other fears that came across. I came up here with a compass in the fog, got a little lost and figured out how to get out. I came up here, I learned how to shoot a gun, started bringing a gun, and after I missed my turkey with a shotgun 2 years in a row, I decided maybe just carrying bear spray is safer for me because I don't have to aim as carefully. Like, these are just things that I figured out, and I've used my mistakes and experiences to help me be better. One of the fears that I haven't been able to entertain while I'm up here is the fear of making a mistake. That's just something that's helping me learn. I had to bag that one and let people know sometimes that I just totally messed up. Hey, can you help me figure this out? All right, so is there anything that you are totally afraid of doing, that you're having doubts about yourself, that you know you need to do? Okay, listen to your doubts and fears. You don't have to resist them. You don't have to react to them by hiding and being small and not going for it. You don't even have to distract yourself from them. You can go ahead and listen to them and use them to give you clues about what you can improve on to get to where you want to go. Okay, do you guys want to just see what it's like out here? See this fire? Am I even pointing at it? Yeah, there it is. Up here on the top of the mountain. Okay, go for your stuff. Go for it.